Store podcast. Come on at 8. Girl, if we miss this episode, Facebook gonna spoil the whole thing. Get in the car. They said Jessica got receipts tonight.
We have to make it just on time. Oh! Jesus, take the wheel. You are scaring me half to death.
I'm trying to hear this podcast before the comments get ahead of me. This town hotter than fish grease right now.
We made it just in time.
There it is. Turn it up. Turn it up.
Oh, it's starting, honey.
Welcome to the spot where Southern truth meets
Oh, they
real
already
talk.
started talking spicy tonight.
This ain't your
Girl,
average
grab them cookies and
podcast.
hush. This finna be good.
This the Cornerstone Podcast. Straight out of Glennville, Georgia.
Hey, happy Sunday, and welcome to the Corner Store Podcast, where a couple of guys that grew up in Glennville, Georgia, let you in on our group chat, and the group chat has been hotter than fish grease, as the young lady said in the film. I'm Hot Dog, aka Shannon Howard, here at the Corner Store, and I'm going to bring up my co-castmates, Slick, Edmund, and Micah. What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man? What's going on with Glennville?
Man, it's hotter than fish grease, brother. Hotter than fish grease.
Rumble in the
Like
jungle.
Yes, Warren in the jungle. Have y'all seen this much messiness since I don't even know when? When the last time Glennville been this messy?
Never been messy like that. It's just on the internet now.
Yeah. If they had a reality show and had to name it, what would we call it if we had it specialized on Glennville?
As the world turns.
As the world, okay, I like what you got, Michael. What would you call it, Michael?
Man,
Future House Representative.
Dukes of Hazzard. That's
Dukes of Hazzard. Onions and omissions.
Hey, I got to go back to one of my favorites, Smokey and the Bandits and them. Yeah, but we got a special show for you guys tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you can, hit the heart button, hit the like button, and share. We're going across all platforms. We got a mixed group of demographics here that have been following the Corner Store Podcast here. Got over 1,000, almost 1,300 followers all in 1 week. So we hopefully to bring you guys high quality content. And before we go any further, we have a special guest. She's one of the staples in Georgia, has been an independent journalist. And we want to bring her to the stage, first of all, to teach us how to say her last name, because I was gonna mess it up. I was gonna You remember that old song?
Yeah.
So we want to welcome Jessica Alphabet herself to the stage.
Hey, thanks
What's
for having me
going on, Jessica? Hey. Welcome. So, Jessica, man, before we get into all the messiness and all the stuff that's going on in Glennville, tell the people who you are, what do you have to offer, and why do people like your take, opinion, and editorials?
Well, I'm not sure that everybody likes my take, opinion, or editorials, but they tolerate me in most places. But I've been an independent journalist for about, I guess, as a full-time job, about 11 years now. And I just feel like local government, the court system, and more lately, the Department of Corrections just don't get the attention that state and national politics do. And I want to cover all the things that everyone else isn't covering, or that the mainstream big outlets aren't covering. And so that's kind of what's been my mantra for a while now. But for, I guess, the most pressing question is how you say my last name, which is Szilagyi. So
Szilagyi. Yes. Okay. Alphabet is still easier.
I know. I agree. I like that too. It's catchy. So.
Hey, Jessica, how you doing? It's Slick. Do have one quick question. You know, you're new to me. I know you're based out of Effingham. I have come across some of your stories. You really like Burke County and Washington County. So I'm in that area. but how do you pick and choose what topics and what areas to focus on when you're doing your stories?
So initially, every story, I don't usually go looking. It's usually brought to me by somebody. When it's like a law enforcement issue, it's almost always another cop that brings it to me. And a lot of my stories come from sitting in court. Like I'll go to court to watch something that's happening, and then something else will happen and I happen to be there for it. I'm like, that'd make a good story. Or I bet nobody knows that that's even happening. And the same thing kind of happened with local government. When I moved down here, I just started attending meetings everywhere and it just unfolded. It just happened. But now, because it's such a target rich environment, I kind of have to be more choosy, I guess, just because resources are limited, time is limited. But I sometimes, I mean, everyone misses the mark sometimes, but I try to focus on things that don't just affect one or two people, that like are like a systematic problem or an issue that would impact the entire community if they knew what was happening, or with the courts that they would look at it and say, oh my gosh, that could have been me. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's.
Understood.
Okay. Why, and this is Edmund, why does this controversy matters beyond one controversial meeting? What larger patterns does it expose, and why should communities beyond Glennville be paying close attention to what goes on at the local level?
So to the first part of your question, I think that the reason it's a big issue is because they were so confident in what they were doing. They were so comfortable doing it. Even though there were questions like, should we be doing this, or joking about it? It said to me, and I don't know for this to be for a fact, but to me, it represented that they had done it before. I know most people have seen their apology at this point, and it was one of the worst apologies I've ever seen. It wasn't an apology at all, really. But so, I mean, I think that's problematic. The second part of the question of why other people should be, or other towns or counties even should be looking at it, I think that I don't think that when they knew that this was coming down the pipeline, like that the video was going to be published and people had requested it, and then it started trickling out to people, I don't think they knew that it was going to unite people across like every socioeconomic demographic, people who don't live there. Like, people are just angry overall because this is the kind of, yes, the gossip is small town, but like the just total blatant disregard for the public and the rule of law. I think people are like, well, that happens at the state level and that happens in Washington. We don't expect our neighbors to do that, and we're not going to let it go. And I think that that's why other towns should be paying attention, because people are tired of it. Like, we can't escape it everywhere we look, at every level of government. And small town, local government is supposed to be the government that's closest to the people.
So, Jessica, it's Micah. You speak of the rule of law. Specifically, what law was broken? I know people hear that Open Meetings Act, sunshine laws, and things like that. Could you go into that a little bit more so that some of the citizens can really understand what the gravity of the situation is when it comes to that?
Sure. So first, you have to look at the Glennville Charter, which says that a quorum is 3 people, and the mayor is not included because the mayor doesn't vote unless there's a tie. But I mean, it matters that he was there because he knew and he condoned it. He didn't stop it and he didn't leave. But for as far as a quorum goes, it's 3 council members. And so then you take that and look at the Open Meetings Act, which is a state law that was adopted by the legislature, has been amended over the years because they've either, tried to catch up with technology or things like that. But it has largely remained the same, which is that you cannot meet outside of the advertised times. You can't meet secretly. You can't meet without notice. You can't continue a meeting. And there was a lot of misconception that, like, if they don't vote, that they didn't violate the law, but that's not what it says. It says to discuss, to talk about policies, of course, it does include voting, but the Open Meetings Act is like so that you don't conduct any business at all. You don't talk about things that aren't supposed to be talked about, I guess, for lack of a better explanation, in front of the public. Like everything that they said about the city attorney, the staff and all of that, that should have happened in the official meeting. And the problem with the Open Meetings Act is that it takes citizens' initiative in order for something to happen. You have to contact the Attorney General's office, or you have to file suit yourself before anyone will take action. But there are remedies for it, but there's no skating it. They violated that state law.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And a lot of people have been championing for them to resign. And it looks like it may be a fight because they released that apology in the paper, which was more of an advertisement in the paper. But if public pressure gets to them and we wake up tomorrow morning and there's a release in the paper saying all 4 of them resign, what happens legally, operationally, and practically for the city of Glennville?
So this one was new for me because I've never had to consider this before. I actually had to go looking for the law. And I thought that it would be that the governor appoints, because that's what happens with counties. But actually with the city, if everyone resigned and only one council member remained, that council member would appoint the replacements that would be on an interim basis until they could have a special election. And, the terms of those seats would coincide with how they're already staggered. So like each post has its own staggered 2-year elections for like every 2 years. So they would follow that, but it would be up to the person who was left, because the law is clear. It says that even if so many people resign that it eliminates the quorum, whoever is left basically has to pick up the pieces and fill those seats until the voters can do that. And that, because, there's a process for that, for advertising the election, calling the election, setting it, having it, and then swearing people into office. So I know everybody wants people to resign, and I'm not saying that that's not the right thing, but I do think that if that's going to happen, people need to be prepared to act quickly, because the city still has responsibilities. And I think the only thing the remaining council member would not be able to do is like appoint herself to be the mayor. I think she has to maintain the seat she has and appoint people to serve the spots that have been resigned from.
So are you saying the remaining person could hypothetically pick the mayor and the other council persons
on an interim basis? Yes,
on an interim basis. So we could have
everybody that ran against each one of them.
Yeah, so we could have Mayor Micah, right? Since he's a resident there.
Nah,
or
he running for something else. We can elect we can appoint Mayor Zubair.
Mayor Zubair. Put in the chat, if you're a resident of Glennville, if we wake up tomorrow morning and there are resignations of those who are implicated in the paper, who would you think would be a great interim mayor and fill those council seats there? So
Dr. Randy King.
I like that one too. Yeah. What'd you say, Micah? I see you internalizing it, bro. Yes, save it for the backstage. Save it for
afterward.
So if you're just tuning in,
I didn't think that was gonna happen.
Yeah, but Jessica is right though. Like everyone is championing for them to resign. But what if they do abruptly resign? What is the protocol afterwards? Are we ready? Are you guys ready for it there in Glennville?
And I will say this too, even if she's left, I think she will be deliberative. And I think she's formed a great coalition where I think that the city will be represented well across racial, across demographics. And, so I don't, when you start having this conversation, some people may get scared and think that, she's going to vote all these people in. No, I think if they are to resign, I think she will be very deliberative about that and make sure that the city is well represented and it reflects Glennville.
And one thing I want to say is I think she would be fair. I know a lot of people would take advantage of that situation, but I think she would be fair if she had to be put in that position.
I concur. She operates with integrity and has good credibility, and she's for Glennville. She wants what's best for Glennville as well.
And she's a
All right,
pastor
moving.
and a Christian. That was just
And it's a lot of angels at her church, not a lot the Church of Satan. So she goes to, as you can tell, Justin, we're kind of petty sometimes, you know.
Hey, what was that statement, Michael? A real
Which
Christian?
one? Oh, I serve God for real.
Oh, I serve God for real.
There you go.
Hey,
For real. Yeah. And you marked safe from a noble and a Sasquatch, right?
Hey, they ain't got me yet. I was thinking I had to zig and zag when I walked around town, but I'm cool.
Good. We just want to make sure we're going to send back up. All right, moving on with the show. Another topic that's close to Jessica's heart is breaking down Smith State Prison and Bryan Adams. There's been a lot of controversy there with our correctional institution in the city of Glennville, which is Smith. And you did an amazing piece on that, Jessica. Could you fill the public in, since we have 195 people? Like tonight, we set a record, guy. I don't know if it's Jessica, if it's us, or is it the fish grease? But Jessica, fill us in.
So do you want me to give a background on what happened at Smith State? Okay. So just to kind of go back, because this is several years in the making, of course, but in 2021, Glennville resident Bobby Kickleiter was brutally murdered in his bed in the middle of the night. And this came 2 weeks after, they didn't know this at the time, but it came 2 weeks after another man, Jerry Lee Davis, was murdered in Wayne County, just across the river. And both cases were basically like whodunits for several months. And a happenstance connection of information during the investigation led them to Smith State Prison, where they allegedly determined that a former inmate and a current inmate and a former corrections officer and her friend conspired to basically take out another corrections officer at Smith State Prison who was halting their contraband process of smuggling stuff in. He was making it more difficult for them. Unfortunately, Mr. Bobby had no ties to the prison, and they hit the wrong house, and he was murdered. And then of course Jerry Lee Davis was a delivery truck driver to Smith State Prison with a private company, but there's a lot of still speculation about like why they took him out, but he was also murdered in his bed actually while he was sleeping with his young daughter. So these two things happened, and they finally arrested this man named Christopher Sumlin, a woman named Keisha. It's escaping me, but a woman who worked at Smith State Prison, and an Ariel Murphy who was from Vidalia, and she was the named getaway driver. So 4 people. And then Nathan Weeks was charged, and he was a current Smith State Prison inmate. And what's so crazy about this is when I heard about it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the biggest news ever. I can't believe that this happened in tiny Glennville. And while it has been really big news, unfortunately, this is like it's just a microcosm of a really big problem in our correctional system. But what it revealed was that the inmates were walking around in designer clothing. They had money, cash, weapons, jewelry, designer diamond jewelry, beautiful gold jewelry, things that you don't see inside a prison, and they had it. And when this was all coming to light, people said, well, you've arrested these people, but all of this is so obvious. So everyone wants to know why you haven't arrested the warden. And so in February of 2023, the GBI did finally arrest Bryan Adams. And I think it's important to note that the Department of Corrections did not fire him until the day he was arrested. So he was the warden for like almost 4 years, I think. But through all these arrests, all these botched murders orchestrated from inside the prison, additional shootings, just absolute chaos. They never fired him. They never were like, oh, we need to distance ourselves or move him or anything. They waited until he was arrested. So he was arrested, and in February, and we've waited over 3 years for Chris Carr's office to indict him, because Chris Carr's office is incredibly incompetent and political, and they just kicked the can down the road. Unfortunately, the local DA's office could not handle it because of conflicts, because they've handled prison cases and worked with Brian Adams and different things. But so we've been at the mercy of Chris Carr. But of course, there's an election next week. So last week, he sent someone down to present it to grand jury, and they returned an indictment for violation of RICO and bribery, making false statements, tampering with evidence, and violation of oath of office by a public officer. So now we just wait for it to play out in the court system.
Yeah.
The question I have is, okay, if Chris Carr had it this long, and you kind of mentioned it about the election, which is Tuesday, what was his rationale of waiting so long, you think? Outside of
I don't know what his rationale was. The two, Nathan Weeks and Christopher Sumlin. So Christopher Sumlin is the alleged gunman in both the murders, and Nathan Weeks is the kingpin, for lack of a better word. They're facing the death penalty, and initially in Tattnall County they are. And initially I thought that maybe it was like a strategic trial thing, like they didn't want to have multiple cases where the evidence was getting shared in one case and they're trying to preserve it in another, especially with how complicated death penalty cases are. I thought that might be what was going on, but then it just drug out. And then I've seen how he's handled other corruption cases, like Jackie Johnson, who was a district attorney, obviously, when Ahmaud Arbery was murdered. I think that either his office is just so incompetent in that case, like they botched it either because they just don't know how to do their jobs, or they did it on purpose, because the whole reason all of that got thrown out at the very last minute before it went to the jury was because the indictment was messed up. So I think that everything is political for him. I think that his office has always done the bare minimum. He was going up against the FCC for years until he decided he wanted to run for governor. His office completely ignored that the prisons are collapsing, and while people are like pleading for cell phone jammers and for them to go after the Department of Corrections, and he's done nothing. And I think he thought that people didn't care, but people care, because whether you're like the tough on crime Republican and you want the inmates held accountable, or you're a bleeding heart liberal who wants better conditions or like safe and secure facilities for staff, or you're just a member of the public who doesn't want to be murdered in their bed in the middle of the night on accident because the inmates hit the wrong house, like it can affect everyone. And I think he finally did realize, like, oh, maybe this won't cost me any political points. But it did, because I don't think Tattnall will ever forget that he waited 3 years on a slam dunk.
Yeah,
but that's just my opinion.
So what from the community standpoint, there's actions, there's recourse that we can take in the case of, the city hall and things that were going on in local government. But in this case, are we just at the mercy of the Attorney General's office, or is there justice that we can seek, or is there something that we can do as a community to get the ball rolling or move the needle on that prison situation? Because like you said, I mean, it's spilling over. It's not just in the prison where people are being violently attacked and murdered. It's spilling over to the community where we could be at danger for people putting a hit or having a botched hit on the wrong house. So what should be our recourse as a community?
Well, I think that like step one was just people. I think that people for years did not know how bad the Department of Corrections, or how, I guess, the negative impact the Department of Corrections had on Tattnall County generally. Like, it was sold as this amazing job opportunity where everyone would work there, and that's just not the case. I think it was a respectable position a long time ago, and I think there are still good people who work there, but the system has collapsed. And so I say all that to say, I think that step one was for Glennville and Tattnall County to see this is not a good thing. I think it has opened their eyes on the way that the prisons drain resources. And the way that I mean that is not that the inmates who need medical care are not deserving of the resources, but that it is near constant strain of ambulances, air evac. Also, I don't think a lot of people know that the city of Glennville residents subsidize water for the prison. And that is thanks to Wayne Dasher when he was on the Board of Corrections for so long. And some of the previous administration and previous staff tried to undo that, and he basically made it so that they couldn't. But the residents subsidize the water. They annexed Smith State Prison to the city limits in order to do that. Just small things like that. So your question was, how did I say all that to say that, how does the public fix this or address this or protect themselves? First of all, knowing is half the battle. Second, I think that there's value in people continuing to lobby the state to close Smith State Prison, move the inmates, transfer inmates that are not maximum security, because that facility is not meant to house that level of offender. Like the representatives in Tatnall, Bill Werkheiser, and I believe it's Billy Hickman, or no, is it Blake Tillery?
It's split
Tillery.
between Blake Tillery and Hickman.
So none of them have prioritized the prisons. I think recently they threw them a bone with some appropriations, but I mean, by and large, like, you need to elect people who understand and will stand up for Tatnall County, because Tatnall County has suffered immensely. And they need someone in Atlanta who's going to say, we're not doing this anymore. We're not going to be the state's, whipping boy and just take all your junk. Because it's a great place to live. Like, despite all this stuff that has happened and in the drama in Reedsville and Glennville and the prisons, like, the people of Tatnall are amazing people, and they don't deserve what the state has dumped on them. And
okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
You what I was going to do is follow-up question to that. I think you ran over that real fast. Can you explain to the viewers what did Wayne do in order to make it harder for the local elected officials to undo that water situation? Because I know my mom lives there, and even if she's up here with me for, let's say, a month, her water bill is still $50 a month at least. So how do we undo that to lessen the burden on the citizens of Glennville?
Well, and I see your question is like simultaneous to Julie Dasher, who I normally don't interact with, but she asked how Wayne can control the water situation the same way he controlled things for years. I mean, he would threaten people with funding. Like, he was a power player in the community when he had that clout, and he did it. It's why he was in the prisons all the time before COVID, and at City Hall all the time, and on boards. And the list goes on and on. The base rate for the water, of course, is like a flat line that they just charge people for having it. And so, I don't know what the base rate is, so I don't know if $50 is legit or not. But the reality is that appropriations from the state were threatened because when Glennville was talking about just charging the prison for the actual water that they used instead of the subsidized rate, Wayne is the one that contacted the state and told them, and then the threats of pulling the money were made. And I was around when that all happened, so we can pretend that it didn't, but I was covering Glennville when it did.
Wow.
And I'm not saying you, I'm saying some of the people in the comments who are saying like, oh, well, it was a non-paying position. Well, it might have been, but it also came with perks. So
yes.
Yeah. Some of the perks could be proximity and favors down the road. So what I got from that, Jessica, is we need to be informed voters. We don't need to vote blindly because we've always voted Democrat or always voted Republican. Do the due diligence and look up what that person is representing, and do they represent the interests of your household, and then is the same interest for the community. So let's become informed voters when we're casting that vote to make sure we make progression and not be oppressed or held back by these old ideologies. I only have a few more questions for you here, Jessica. This is the lighthearted part of the show. But before we do that, for those who are just tuning in, you're tuned in to the Corner Store podcast with a couple of guys from Glennville, Georgia, letting you in on our group chat. We talk about everything from sports to politics to environmental to just good old-fashioned stories of growing up in Glennville, Georgia. And we have Miss Jessica Alphabet on with us tonight. All right, so Jessica, since we're talking about small towns and we're all from a small town, but if you were dropped off in Glennville and everyone had a mass exodus from Glennville, what would be your small town survival kit? Would it be church clothes, teas from the auntie, some chicken from the hen house? What would be your small town survival kit?
To live, or like what am I trying to? Am I trying to survive a meeting?
Well, I'll shorten it to make it from a Friday to a Monday, so over a weekend. What is your small town survival kit?
Well, a fan. Because it's hot. Maybe some margarita mix. And some church clothes. I mean, you want to mix it up, do a little talk with the Lord while you're there. I don't know. That's a really tough question. Like, that's the hardest thing you've asked me all evening. But no, I mean, like I said before, like, people are really great there. I feel like if you show up and, I mean, you said everyone makes a mass exodus, but like if people are around, like, this is a very helping hand community. Like, people don't really let other people go without. They step up a lot, no matter what the situation is, which is one of the things that drew me to South Georgia. And there's some great people there.
Yeah, there's still a lot of Southern hospitality there, but there's a lot of good old boy mentalities there as well. So we definitely want to eliminate those mentalities, move forward with progress. Roger, let me throw this out here. You always add humor to the show. If you had a small town survival kit, what would be in it?
Gas to get out of there. Yeah, I'm done with small town.
Hold on. Let me add rules to it. You can't leave until Monday, so you gotta be stuck there.
That's tough, man. Well, I mean, Glennville got a liquor store now, and got a few places to eat. I mean, I might chill out there for the weekend. Grandma's still there, so I mean, I might be good.
That's hilarious. So if you're watching the Corner Store podcast, man, drop a WJ Alphabet in the chat, because she's been an awesome guest for a lot of informative information. Jessica, how can we follow you? What's your social media handles, your website? Do you have a podcast that people can tune in on?
So I don't have an active podcast right now, but if you wanted to learn more about the Smith State Prison and the corruption issue and just the collapse of the Department of Corrections, and hear from Wayne Dasher, you can download or listen to Prison Town podcast. It was actually nominated for a Peabody a couple years ago, so that was pretty exciting. But you can hear that on all the podcast platforms. My writing, my daily writing, some local government coverage is thegeorgiavirtue.com. And that website has like all of our social media links and everything. And then, of course, my Facebook page is where I share my articles, but also commentary, cartoons, rap songs that are remixed about me, all that stuff. So it's a very diverse place for discussion. So
I love it. Let's give it up for Jessica Alphabet. So thank you for that information. Thank you for being a part of the podcast. Any more remixes coming up? We kind of like to take what you started with and remix it and have the best of the world.
I don't know how soon, but I mean, of course, I feel like next time there's a meeting, there's going to be a song to go along with it. So,
and before you leave, just two quick questions. How do you think it's going to play out with the ethics committee? And do you think citizens should start forwarding their complaints to the attorney general and other mechanisms in order to get some recourse on these actions?
So I think the ethics committee is going to lead to disappointment by no fault of their own, but just how it's written and how the ordinance is written and how what they've done has, I guess you could work with the violation of the Open Meetings Act, but the way that I read it, there's just not a ton of recourse there. I think at a minimum, people need to contact the Attorney General's office. There's actually a form you can fill out. And I think that the more people that do it and talk about the violations of the Open Meetings Act, the less they can ignore it, because it's easy to ignore one person. It's a lot more difficult to ignore 20, 50, 100 people. The other thing I would say is that people need to, I feel like sometimes people get defeated or they feel defeated when things don't go the way they want, or, the ethics committee is unsuccessful, which remember that the ethics committee can only make recommendations. So they can't remove them like people want. So if you hit a roadblock, you need to be prepared for what's next. And if what's next is not until the election, then you need to be ready for that and start organizing. You don't need to wait until qualifying. You start now and you go with it.
So if I hear you correctly, you feel the most powerful recourse right now is citizens getting together and sending in their complaints to the Attorney General's office. So that
I think it's harder for them to ignore that many people. And then if they do ignore them, then that gives you the opportunity to say this many people filed a complaint and they're ignoring it. And then you can get the pressure that way, which is something that I have done in the past and has been successful. So, there's different ways, but the more people that do it, the more effective it's going to be.
Okay. Good stuff.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. So, last question, Jessica. Since you've come to the corner store, what is your favorite snack from the corner store? So, think of a gas station. The reason we call it the corner store is right there at Handcart and 301, where the is it the Rusty Pig?
Yes, the Rusty Pig.
Yeah, there used to be a gas station there, but everyone called it the corner store. They say if you go there and wait 5 minutes, you'll see people you haven't seen in 10 years. So we coined it the corner store. But if you were to go into the corner store and had to grab a snack, what snack would you grab?
Well, based on experience from whenever I leave a government meeting that's been super stressful and I need something to take the edge off on my way home, I always go for a Kit Kat. So I'd have to be consistent and get another Kit Kat at the corner store. So.
There it is. Drop a bomb one time for J Alphabet. There it is. There it is. So thank you so much once again for joining the corner store.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully we can have a follow-up episode and a recap episode after these meetings that come up, or as things transpire. We'll pay close attention to your page, and I'm sure you'll be paying close attention to ours, and we'll collaborate on a few things. So thank you once again for joining the corner store. It was a delight to have you. Hopefully we made you feel comfortable.
Of course.
Like I said, it's like a group chat, hat to the back, sweaters on. We just like to opine and have good conversation with good people. So thank you for coming by the corner store.
And somebody's dropped, I think Darlene D dropped the link to the Attorney General's document, so people can click on that link and download that document and file a complaint.
Yes. If it's clickable, click on the link. No problem at all. I'm sure we'll be talking soon. So J Alphabet, let's give it up for her one time again. Drop some hearts in the chat for J Alphabet. Peace and love, Jessica. All right, man. Good dialect, good dialogue, good back and forth with all of that. Before we go any further, we got to bring somebody else to the show. And I won't tell some of his backstories, but since you coming to the show late, brother, we need to know what is your survival kit since you're in the truck looking like you're surviving. Big Al Lewis, let's welcome Big Al Lewis to the stage.
Bro, I can't. Whatever you said, I ain't hearing none of that.
See, that's
he gotta get his audio right.
No, bro, I ain't hear none of that. What you just said. Once you said Jessica this and that, and she got off, that was it.
Yeah. Basically, why you late?
Yeah, well,
bro, you know what I'm saying? I get that dollar, bro.
Understandable.
I'm in one of these towns, you know what I'm saying, where I had to put my trunk magnet on the back so they don't mess with me. So,
Well,
But
we
no,
invest in your survival kit.
But no, I thought this was a good show, and I asked those follow-up questions because I don't want people to be get disenchanted and lose hope and stop the fight. There's always recourse, but everybody needs to stay vigilant and keep their foot on the gas to make sure that these people are held accountable.
Well, man, I want to piggyback on that. You know, I saw a little bit. I was out of town on a business meeting, but I was following Micah's live, and I just saw a little bit of frustration. I think some of it was that people didn't know the process, and now we found out the process is kind of flawed. It's going to be a long journey for this particular actions that we want to get the results that we want. So just be patient. Continue to follow the established steps that are right now until we can change them, and then I think we'll win this. You know, but right now we just got to be patient.
Yeah, and be prepared. Be prepared for each step. Right. So if it does drag out and it ends up being an election cycle before we can make a change, let's go ahead and start working on candidate recruitment and start working on getting our coalitions and teams together to go knock on doors and get the voters out. So hopefully it doesn't take that long, but if it does, let's just be prepared and make it happen.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Remember,
stay focused, stay persistent, and stay vigilant. I saw the meeting too, and actually the ethics committee looked just as wide-eyed as many of those in the city hall there, as well as us online. This is their first time going through the process, so you're not going to be an expert at something the first time you go through it. So this is the test case. This is the pilot. Hopefully there's an inflection point where there's a pivot from this to where everything gets better because of this. So,
and do y'all think anything short of resigning can move the city forward? Or what do you think will be need to happen in order to move the city forward?
I think they have to resign. At this point, I think public trust is all but gone. And I think resigning for them would move the city forward. And I think how they respond to all of this is going to be very telling, because as a leader, if you were truly sorry and if you were in it for the people, in it for the right reasons, then you would go ahead and resign.
And my reporting says that one of them already stated that he ain't going nowhere. This is only going to help his stock. He's going to gain supporters, and that was Mr. Mark Nobles, from what I allegedly was told, that he made that statement that this was going to increase his stock.
Well,
that's what I want to know. Who actually going to who do we really think these people's going to resign?
No, not at all. Not at all. They aren't going to resign. I mean, we see that
they already told us they can't vote themselves out. So
yeah, but that speaks to their character though, because they aren't going to resign. They it is what it is, and they probably going to respond very defensively.
Hey, at the end of the day, the citizens of Glennville got the power.
Yeah,
they either gonna force them to resign, or they're gonna vote them out of office. But right now, it's on the citizens of Glennville. Y'all got the power.
Mm-hmm. Y'all got the power. And I ain't never seen Glennville this unified across racial lines, across economic lines. I'm very proud of my hometown, with everybody coming together and standing for what's right.
Mm-hmm. And Edmund, you've been on the inside looking. I mean, both of you, Michael and Edmund. What is there a whistleblower process in Glennville? Because there are a lot of employees of the city that are upset, and honestly, a lot of them know where all the bones are buried.
There are state laws that protect whistleblowers. That's law. Mm-hmm. So, like, if they know, and they can come forward and claim whistleblower protection.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
All right, cool,
but no,
cool.
it's just it's amazing, you know, like we focus on the trivial things, but I think everybody just brushing over that prison story. That prison story is very important. I mean, and we talked about draining resources. We just had a whole debate. What prompted all of this was a 40,000 sidewalk project versus a 700,000, I think, road project. Imagine if our resources wasn't drained from the prison. What more could we do in the city where we're not fighting over these trivial projects, where we can really handle the business of the citizens of Glennville? So those are the things that we need to be talking about. Those are local issues that need to be addressed, and Glennville citizens have the power to make those changes.
Yeah, and I'm glad she brought that up about the water, because even if I can remember correctly, we basically some of the grants, they look at how much you charge the citizens for water. So they basically were saying we already weren't charging enough, even though we were paying for the prison's water, essentially. So it was kind of interrupting some things there as well for us to get funding and get grants in here to help with the water system and sewage and things like that. So it just makes it a little tougher to get the resources that we need. Even though it adds to the population, it's still, that's a prison population. It's not a working population. It's not a property tax paying population. It's not people who go shop at the store and sales tax and things like that. So, I mean, it's literally just raw numbers, but it doesn't help all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good story for me. I always thought that the prison was a positive coming in Glennville, giving jobs, different things like that. So, it was a good story. Like I said, I'm gonna have to do my research on it, and go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, time for some community engagement with this controversy and scandal. Put a 1 in the chat if a scandal like this is not redeemable. Like, with this happening, is this a one strike situation, or what do they got to do to prove it? Put a 1 in the chat if this is career ending. Put a 2 in the chat if you think they can come back from this through whatever means of actions, or the rhetoric is done with. We need to see actions that take place to show that they're worthy of those seats. So put a 1 in the chat if you think it's a done deal. Put a 2 if it's redeemable.
Yeah. And I think that people need to I think we can forgive people for actions, but there's still consequences for your actions. And I think we don't need to lose sight of that. We love to bring God into things when we've done things, but we all have to pay there are consequences for our actions. If your child does something wrong, you love them and you're gonna talk to them and you're gonna forgive them for what they've done, but there's also a consequence for that. And I think this right here deserves a consequence. You demean the character of people, you trash people, and these are the people you have sworn to protect and represent. And I just don't think you can do that with integrity moving forward.
I think for the better of the city, it's time to move on. Them guys need to find something else to do. To be honest with you, they is no way that they can serve the public and preach to us that they're serving the public, especially with the way that they were talking about members of the society. So they have to go.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's no public trust. It's just gone. So seeing that people are already saying that, there's, like Roderick said, there's no way that they can my bad. There's no way that they can serve the public after that. So yeah, the best thing to do is just to go ahead and move on.
Yeah, that credibility.
The public get in and do what they're supposed to do, as you guys keep saying, and vote them out.
Somebody said Tammy Waters.
I missed the show, but
somebody said
it's crazy.
Somebody said Tammy Waters might be redeemed, as she wasn't really participating in the video, but her lack of speaking against it makes it unlikely a silent observer is just as guilty. I think that negates everything she said in the beginning, because I agree with that. I
Yeah.
mean, the reason why I don't give her a pass is because they have known to be meeting off site, probably with with a quorum. If not a quorum, they know she's in cahoots with them. That picture, the pictures that we were sent back in October, shows that she's there meeting with them off site, conducting city business. So she knows what they're doing. She feels the same way. I mean,
because she didn't get caught this time, don't mean it don't happen before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's like this is not just a one-off. I'm looking and all week I've been getting texts, emails, messages, all this about stuff that they have done to the citizens, and not good things, from using zoning as a weapon to enhance their real estate, from using basically using the resources that's supposed to be for the city for themselves, calling and seeing who's moving beside them in their neighborhood, so because they don't want a certain kind of people moving in their neighborhood, scheduling meetings at inconvenient times of the day so people don't come like they try to do and the whole crowd showed up. Of course, we got switching the project. We got them not wanting to do things because it's inconvenient for somebody that they know but don't mind, so it's so much that they've done, so many things that they've stirred up in the community that I'm hearing about now, that it's been going on too long, and it's just time for them to move on. And it's at a head now. We see it. We've seen it behind closed doors.
And while you're on that, I think the law that they need to go back and look at is the banning of mobile homes in the city limits of Glennville. That is unfair. How can you have a city that's affordable for people when we know in rural areas it's hard to find jobs where people can actually buy a home, a $200,000-$300,000 home? What you're trying to do, kick all the poor people out of the city? That's not right. And my thing is, for you to do that, you already had an ordinance on the books that said that only double wide mobile homes can be in the city, but then you changed that altogether. And I just have to believe that something in the milk ain't clean, with you just outright banning mobile homes from the city. That we need to look into that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, when you start, that's like housing discrimination.
It is.
Right. We need that diversity of housing in Glenville. We need that diversity for people here in town, right? And people who it presents, another option for affordable housing for people, and people who want to provide affordable housing. Right? I mean, you're making it hard for even the churches and the nonprofits to be able to do what they need to do for, the struggling or the homeless population.
Right.
So, and there's just so much stuff that I'm looking at, even the mobile home ordinance. Once they figured out that it wasn't going to benefit them, they try to go back and change it. Like I'm literally reading this stuff word for word. So it's crazy.
It's crazy, but we need to look at that. And I think somebody should sue, because I've been a part of zoning where, the courts look, really, they don't like people abusing people's property rights. And I think that's akin to a taking, to be quite honest. When you tell people, especially property that has a history of being a mobile home park, you're telling them that they can't replace a trailer that's there. Come on, man. That's wrong. That's wrong. And now you're messing with people's business, right? If I had a business and my business was based on mobile homes, and you're telling me if I got rid of all the old mobile homes, I can't bring mobile homes in there, or even if I didn't have a mobile home there for some years, but I decide I want to put a mobile home there, you're going to penalize me now and say I can't bring a mobile home on my property? That's a taking, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So what we saw on video is the true thought process and mindset of who they actually are. So what we see in public is probably a facade or a cover up. They're playing politicians, in other words, is what I got from that, Edmund and Micah.
Yeah, I think they were embarrassed for the most part because people saw who they really were. I mean, true character is what you do when nobody's looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how you treat people you think you don't need. And they show their true character in that video. So you can't come back now and issue an apology now because you're trying to save your job. You showed who you were. we got a lens into who you are, your character.
Yeah, and with that, them being so open with each other, with that opens the door to bigger issues like the things you guys just talked about with nefarious practices of self-dealing, self-interest. Like they mentioned the Knights in the video and the backstory on that. I don't have all of it, but it had to do something with a burn ban ordinance that was changed during the election time. So whatever happened with that, the Knight family were very upset. They were out of money for legal fees and did not regain that money, and then the ordinance was changed back into their favor, even though they were opposed to it in the beginning. But real quick, this doesn't just pertain to this, but in general, old Facebook posts. Like we've all posted things that didn't age well or thought about it, and should I have not posted that, or should I delete it? So old Facebook posts, can people be redeemed from that? Can people come back from that? Or is it cancel culture because you posted that then, even though you didn't mean it? It might have been in the heat of things, might have been emotion. A lot of times when emotions are high, logic is low. Can people come back from Facebook posts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think people can come back from that.
Yeah. And I think we all post jokes or things from time to time, or say things that, might be offensive, and then somebody talk to you and educate you about what you post was very offensive or derogatory. Then I have no problem apologizing and removing that from my timeline if that offended you. Now, sometimes people could be offended by something that I truly believe in, and I'm not taking that down.
Yeah. And then those who post things like even for Zuber, for instance, there was a post, and I don't know, I know he's not aware of all of the culture, especially from a Black perspective. There was a post that he put up that separated the community. Like I told him on the podcast earlier this week, I hadn't talked to him in 6 years. And because of that post, it kind of pulled a lot of us away from the relationship with him. And I actually had a close friendship with him. But now that he sees he's one of us, basically, with how they talked about him, portrayed him behind the scenes, and now he's always been benevolent, been a philanthropist and giving things, but now he's wants to do even more for the community, no matter who they are, what religious they practice, what color they are, and all of that. So with someone like Zuber, where does he stand in the community now? Has this actually elevated him? I know Noble said it was going to elevate him, but I actually think this elevates Zuber even more than what he was before this.
I don't know. I just think people got short memories sometimes. Not a few years back. I remember having a discussion that he made some improper comments, and I was supposed to not eat at his establishment. Now today he happens to be a victim of some of them same practices. So when you say should somebody be, forgiven for, their last Facebook post or prior Facebook post? I'm a lean towards yes, because I think people grow from the mistakes. I think he acknowledged his mistakes back in the day, and I think he's grown from that. I don't live in Glennville, so I don't follow it too well, but from what I've heard, he has kind of changed his thought process from that post.
And I think people change, and sometimes it takes events to kind of educate you to the plight of people. And the only thing we were trying to do back then was educate him about what was going on and let him know how we felt, and what he said was very hurtful. And I don't think he could receive it at that time. But people go through life and experience things, and hopefully he's learned. And I mean, I'm not taking away from all the great things he's done for Glennville, because I commend him for all the great community things he's done with the raising money for the children's hospital, playground equipment, the businesses he's bringing to town. I've never had a problem with it. I commend it. I love to sit down and talk with him about how he's done it. But, I think sometimes life is the great teacher, that sometimes you have to experience things to really understand where people are coming from. And I think this event probably helps him understand more what we were trying to convey to him a few years ago.
Yeah, and now it's not. Now we're not united over a difference of opinion. We're united over something that was egregious. We're united over very serious accusations. When you call somebody a terrorist, that's basically accusing them of some high level criminal activity. So we aren't just talking about a difference of opinions here. We're talking about something that was said that could cause somebody to go to prison for a long time.
Yes.
So, and these are people who have influence in the community, and people who are saying this in a city hall, in a city building, in a government building, a public building that our tax money pays for. And they're saying this about a member of the community.
But see, it's a stereotype that, you know, these people have to live with, and we as Black people always had to live with these stereotypes that, you know, ever since 9/11, when you say that word, it's directed at somebody that looks like Mr. Zubair. So, you know, that was very derogatory, especially when this man has shown you who he is by giving back, you know, to the community, and has invested his entire life here in this city, regardless of whether I agree with him or not politically. The man has done great work. And for you to call him a terrorist when he has young kids, like he said on the show on Friday, little kids, that's very hurtful, you know, especially when you've done things right. You've climbed the ladder, you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, as some would have us do, say we should be doing, and you do everything the right way, and then you're still regarded as a terrorist. That's hurtful.
So you know, I understand that level of you know, comment hurt that man, and I agree that he needs to do everything possible to get his name back. But I want to go back to, you know, a few years back and where he's currently at now. What do you guys think about that? You know, because I from my remembrance, I thought he fought that particular he tried to fight back a little bit after it was explained that he hurt the community. So where do you put him now?
No, I mean, I'm cool. I mean, he made amends even after that. He reached out to me personally, you know, and tried to have a conversation and things of that nature. So something's working, and I give everybody an opportunity to redeem themselves, you know, and we all make mistakes. And so, you know, if you can learn from the mistakes, that's what it's all about. If you learn from it, grow from it, I can't help but take you at your word.
I agree. Sometimes it takes us getting punched in the face to realize that we in the fight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, life is the best teacher when it comes to certain experiences like that. And in conversation with him, I can tell the sincerity is there with him, and he's there for the community. Like he said, it impacts his kids. Like me and you talk all the time, Slick. Like me and you can go at each other and can take it. But as soon as you say something about our kids, wife, or we all right with the parents, they take care of themselves. But them kids, there's something that pulls on those heartstrings of emotion to where we're going to respond differently. So, all right. So if you're tuned in, this is the Corner Store Podcast here with another episode. It's episode 2, season 3. I got a quick question for you guys and for the community that are here in the chat. One of these things have to go. It's going to be tough, but I want to hear what your responses are. Here are the things that are on the list, but one must go. You have the mayor, the 3 council members, the hen house, the onion festival, or $4 gas. This is tough. But one has to go.
I wasn't to say that. Also,
one. Wait, what you said? What you said?
I want to hear it in the
chat. You said hen house ain't what it used to be.
Oh, I wasn't. I didn't say that, Al.
I haven't ate at the hen house. What's going on with the hen house?
But why you ain't never ate at the hen house, bro?
What you mean you ain't never ate at the hen house?
No. I said I haven't ate at the hen house about this. It had to be 25 years since I ate at the hen house, bro. Probably longer than that. I probably was in high school.
Man, let me tell you something. Back in the day, the hen house had the best chicken.
I don't know, because I haven't eaten there since, I guess, the change. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So
What happened?
I couldn't even tell you.
I ain't got no comment.
The story. Tell me what happened.
Oh, I don't
I
know,
feel
bro.
eat at the head house, so I don't know. They speaking for
I
themselves.
haven't eaten
Man,
there.
singing.
Yeah, it was.
Let's go back to the context of the question. Like I would keep the hen house over some of the options.
Oh no, I was just joking about the hen house. If I had to I'll get rid of the 3 council members because the mayor is really ceremonial. You know, he can break ties and things of that nature. But at this time, I'll get rid of the 3 council members because you can definitely move the city forward.
Okay, what say you, Slick?
That boy said the hen house of gas price.
3 council members.
Yeah, 3 council members.
That's easy.
Man, that $4 gas kind of tempting.
Hey, I just filled up last night, 465, bro.
That I don't know, man. That $4 gas, that's kind of tempting.
Damn, that's what I'm here at the gas station now doing, filling up gas. That's why I ain't moving nowhere yet.
Oh my God, it is tempting.
I just spent $4 a gallon here on gas.
Oh man, that's hilarious. But for me, it would probably be the 3 councilmen. Like at this point, they're all pretty much lame ducks.
I need to go to
some of their actions. So we'll see how it goes from here.
Glennville was actually pretty good. Now I like how they moved it to the street and they blocked off the street. We ain't got to walk around the farmers market and get our shoes all dusty.
It's downtown or
it's downtown now.
It's downtown.
Booths and stuff downtown. I really like that setup.
What? I might have to check it out one year.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that it was better this time around since they've been.
What about your parking? How you? Well,
you park all around the city. You can walk.
Park all around downtown. They like
parking spaces.
Slick, you could park with me at Central Pharmacy in the back.
Nah, Slick, nah.
Oh, you know you paying for Central
Pharmacy.
Nah,
I can't go to Central Pharmacy.
I thought you were paying for Central Pharmacy.
Hey, they let me back in years ago, bro. All right, I came back years ago.
You gotta do not enter posted in Central Pharmacy.
I can't hear this boy.
Oh my God. All right, so man, great show tonight, man. Great participation, great engagement online. We set a record tonight. We got up to like 194, which is
we lost like 50 people after Jessica left.
Yeah, well, we tapped into her audience, so hopefully they'll come back to the corner store. And then drop in the chat. What do you guys want us to talk about? Like, I'm in digital marketing, and I tell my clients, you can't force feed your audience what you want them to hear. You got to listen to what they want to hear, and then you put it back out in the way they want to hear it. So what topics do you all want to hear from us here at the corner store? I know we've been politically driven over the last couple of years, but we talk on all subjects. We have a well-rounded group, well-educated group, well-experienced from a professional standpoint. So let us know in the chat. And also, we got some surprises coming to where we may have some special correspondents on the show on the corner store. So you see all this male testosterone on here. We need some estrogen on the show. We need some more women on the show. We need some opposite perspective from a female standpoint on the show. So stay tuned for some things we're working on in the background with that. But with that being said, any parting shots? Roderick, what you got for me, bro?
No, I'm good, man. I know we were talking earlier about the prom stuff, man, and you kind of got on Edmund. You know, I'm glad I ain't got no kids that's going to the prom now, because you almost got to take out like a $50,000 loan to send a kid to the prom. So, my daughter 15, bro. I'm trying my best not to let her go to nothing.
Just don't rent her a helicopter and all the other.
Man,
it's outrageous. I don't mind. You know, as a parent, I just had a son to go to prom twice, right? But I'm not spending that type of money that I see some of these people out here spending. It's ridiculous. You spending having prom send-offs, spending all this money. And I, as an educator, I want to see you invest that amount of money in a tutor and helping your kids get a scholarship to go to college. Like, I just feel like sometimes we can have our priorities messed up. That's just my opinion.
What? Let me ask the girls. What do you do with the dress? After you go to prom, what do you do with the dress?
Yeah, chime in the chat.
We say this as
fathers. They keep it, they resell it.
But
Who wants to buy another dress
that
that
money,
you done took
man?
1,000 pictures with?
They
You
gonna
be
spend
shocked.
that money on their kids for these proms, man. I seen a guy build a whole stage for his son. You seen
Ridiculous.
that? That joker built a whole stage because he got that money just for his prom for one night. He just went all out like he got a concert going on.
Yeah.
This is a great comment right here.
Had on that baby blue suit. You know what I'm saying?
Man, we ain't. Why you gotta bring up? I knew you was gonna. I knew you was gonna bring up my prom suit.
I can't hear him, so I ain't gotta worry about him talking trash to me.
I knew
she
it.
Said she kept her prom dress for 20 years. You looking at it, or can you fit it still?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, they going ham.
Prom dress for 20 years.
They going.
I got 3 daughters that's gonna be back to back to back. They're gonna have to pick which year they're going to prom.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro.
You slick. What you do with it? You just look at
it. Hey, pick which year y'all going to prom. All 3 of y'all going at the same time.
Hey, man. Yeah, you got to be some decision making going on with the prom.
Right, man. You just looking at the prom dress for 20 years. Like, what? You looking at like, I used to be in this size right here.
Oh man, you better leave that alone, yeah.
Man, you crazy, man. 20 years, man. I ain't got clothes that old no more.
Yeah, you do. Hey, did y'all see the video of Big Al when we were promoting the tailgate and alumni picnic, and he had on his Letterman jacket? Why he had grown man sleeves and a little boy body on the jacket still? I love you, big bro. I love you, bro. I just had to bring that up.
She
had to bring it up.
Well, what's this right here? A question I have since we're on prom. When did Tattnall County switch back? Because I remember when we were in school, every year we would go. I remember at one time they were going to Jekyll Island, and we started going to Savannah because I think a class messed that up for us going to Jekyll. Then we started going to Savannah. Now they brought us back to school.
I heard North Tattnall killed that. Is that
no? It was 2007. And they was kind of acting crazy on the beach and in the hotels and stuff. So they kind of moved it back to Tattnall County.
Yeah, but we've
been doing that.
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't have social media.
I don't know what.
They said a few classes, I think it was 95, 96, they broke bust the walls in at the hotel down on Jekyll Island, and
so I don't know what was so.
They don't have anything.
I don't know what was so special about 2007 where they had to ban it finally, but whatever.
I heard it was North Tattnall. Them folks was complaining about why they got to go way down to Brunswick for prom. That's what I was.
You heard it was North Tattnall.
That's what I was told. North, I call it North Tattnall now, but Reedville people. You want me to say it? I was trying to be nice.
South Tattnall.
No, we South Tattnall.
I thought they were South Tattnall.
I mean, it's just one Tattnall now, but
that's what's wrong with our education system right there.
I know, bro. You telling on the class of 94. Tighten up, man.
94.
We were tearing Brunswick before 95, 96.
You couldn't even get a room if you had a Tattnall County license plate.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that ain't it. That couldn't have been it.
That wasn't it.
Because I'm like, we go to school here every day, then we got to come back and have a party in the cafeteria, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, I don't think they do it at the high school. I think they do it somewhere in the middle of somewhere.
I thought it was at the high school.
Was it at the high school this year?
Hey, Dean said he went to prom 5 times. When you start in the 8th grade?
God, no.
Come on, big cuz. You went to prom that many times? Oh my God. Tell me you ain't stayed back and just kept going.
They said they've been at the school for several years and just moved it to a venue in Collins last year and this year. Oh, so
that's it, yeah. It's somewhere in Collins, like a little event, little place in Collins.
Okay.
God, no, you gotta go way to Collins.
Well, we ain't got that many places, man.
Yeah, where else we gonna have it at? The Garden Club?
That's why we were going to Savannah and Brunswick.
Yeah.
One last thing, guys, before we get off a bit of more house cleaning, PSA type of stuff. Edmund or Michael, you can take this one. Can you reiterate to the citizens of Glennville about not tying up the phone lines with the City Hall and 911 and all of that.
Yeah, sure. Please, citizens, we got the processes. We know, understand better the processes. And even now we know that directing everything toward the attorney general's office is probably more effective. So let's try to ease off City Hall. Don't call those city workers. They can't really do anything about the situation. They're working. They're trying to do their job and make sure the city services are delivered. Also, that's a whole different situation with the police and those videos as well. Don't call 911. Response times are already slow. Don't tie up the phone line. Don't tie up the police. Please just be respectful of the city workers, the city employees. They don't have anything to do with what's going on. And we still want them to be effective at their job. So please be easy on them. And let's direct everything to the proper channels and do it in decency and order.
Yeah. Good stuff. So last parting shot. Who's gonna take us out on this one, man? This is one of the better shows. It's actually one of the shorter shows we've had, man. So I kind of like the structure of this. If you want to be on the Corner Store podcast, inboxes, all of us manage the direct message box. So feel free to reach out to us if you want to be on the Corner Store. Also, we're trying to elevate the platform to another level. So if you have a small business and you want to advertise on the Corner Store, inbox us with that as well. We'll let you know what our promo rates are. We'll definitely give you a shout out. We even have internal digital marketing to where we can create commercials for you as well. So if you're interested in that, just inbox us and we'll take it from there.
Let me say one thing before we close out. And I kind of want to speak. I've been thinking a lot this week and over this weekend. I want to talk to the people who may have voted and at one time supported those council members in question right now who are a part of this scandal. Nothing that we're doing, nothing that the citizens are doing, nothing that we're saying is meant to ostracize or to isolate you. We understand that politics, right? You vote for who you vote for and who you want to vote for. And nothing that they said is directed or is a reflection of you or your character unless you believe how they believe. So I just want to, and we understand you're probably now having to reconcile with the fact that that's going on and you voted for those people. Listen, we aren't here to try to create division or more division. We're here to try to make Glennville stronger. And I think and I believe that we can come back stronger. We talked a lot about forgiveness and moving forward and things like that. Hey, people still have good in them. I do believe people can change. Should there be restitution and consequences? Yes, there has to be, because I don't believe that they can serve in government with the current mindset that they have. However, this is not your fault. We're still Glennville. We're stronger together. We'll always be stronger together. And for anybody out there who may think that, hey, man, I've done something wrong in my life and I haven't, maybe I don't think I can come back. You can come back. As long as you're still breathing, there's always purpose and you got a chance. You got a chance. So that's all I wanted to say.
And Tuesday,
very well, Pastor.
I was just going to say Tuesday is election day. Go vote.
Yeah. Yes.
Please.
Go vote. Be an informed voter at that. Just don't vote blindly. Make sure you know who you're voting for and what you're voting for. All right. So until then, man, great show. Love everyone out there. Tune in more. We're going to try to get a regular schedule of the Corner Store going. So stay tuned for much, much more to come from the Corner Store. Peace and love.
Out. Gotta go eat.